The Scarlet and Violet era has been out for quite some time now, and they have released several sets, which means it's time to take a look at what the top 10 cards are of all of Scarlet and Violet from all the sets as well as promo cards. And let's get right into it with our number 10 card, everyone's favorite girl, Iono. So Iono takes the number 10 seed in the top 10 cards. It's kind of odd because she was actually much higher earlier in the year. Now, in my honest opinion, I feel that the reason why this card is dropping is because the North American market is just not that big into the waifu cards, and we see that with Erica as well, right? So for example, if we were to compare the price of the Erica or the Iona card in the Japanese sets in comparison to the English ones, it's just like completely off. So I do feel like this card is just going to continue to kind of slowly make its way down, as us here in North America prefer large dragon lizards for some reason. Now, focusing on the card itself, it is actually a really nice card. You've got her eating all this food with the Pokemon designs and whatnot. Kind of reminds me of another waifu card that we're going to look at later on, which actually is ranked a little bit higher, much higher actually, than Iono is. In general, the character that she has, being a streamer, like what I'm doing right now, it really plays into what we actually are into nowadays in real life. So it's actually a great character from that perspective as well. But right now it takes the number 10 spot, and it may actually even drop out of the 10 spot. It is the number 2 card in Paldea Evolved, I believe, after the Magikarp, but I do feel like this card is going to fall out of the top 10 sooner or later. Next up is Mew EX from Paldean Fates. Now, let's focus on the card here for a second. It's actually a really nice card. We've got the blue Mew, or the shiny Mew, again, giving me those Coral vibes. The full art's nice with all the other Pokemon just hanging around in there as well. And I just like the colors as well, the blue and the green. Again, it's just really well made. Now, looking at the price point here, it was $133 at its max and now has trickled down all the way to an $82 card, giving it the 9th spot in the top 10 of Scarlet and Violet currently. Will it drop further? I mean, look, there's going to be more sets that are going to come out. There are going to be more cards that are come out. And in all honesty, usually it's just 1, sometimes 2 cards that tend to keep their high value, with the exception of Evolving Skies. But again, let's not talk about that. We're focusing on Scarlet and Violet today. It may just hold its price around that $80 mark. But I think, again, this card may slip out of the top 10 sooner rather than later once more sets come out. But generally speaking, it's a nice card and hard to pull. I haven't pulled it yet either. Taking the 8th spot by literally 13 cents is Raging Bolt. And obviously this can change so fast. Right now, as I'm filming this, this is the 8th spot, but it could probably be out of the top 10 tomorrow or the next day or next week. We don't know. This card is actually holding its value because it's a playable card. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice card. You've got him there with the whole palm trees and all that fun stuff. But in reality, I feel that because of its playability, it's one of those cards you use to soup up your deck. And sooner or later, it's also going to drop out of the top 10, unfortunately. The card had topped out at around $104 and now is slowly starting to make its way back down. But again, going back to what I was saying, once the card gets out of rotation or is no longer in the meta, it's probably going to drop further in price. I don't think it will have a super decline because, again, it's still a special illustration rare at the end of the day, but I don't see it being in the top 10 in the next few months or so. Next up is our first promo card. Yes, I did say we are including promo cards in the top 10, and Squirtle, the Pokemon Center Reverse Holo Squirtle, has made the top 10. Now, for those of you who are trying to master Pokemon 151, technically you need to get this card, and there's only one way you can get it. Well, there was one way you can get it. It was getting it for free from the Pokemon Center when you bought some products. It's no longer available, meaning you have to go to the third-party market, which means you're going to have to pay a pretty penny for it. So this card is currently going for around $89. I was lucky. I didn't get it for free, but I only paid about $40 to $45 for it. So again, if you are one of those people that are trying to master Pokemon 151, unfortunately, this is one of those cards that you're going to have to pay a little bit of money for. I don't know if we're going to see any price drops in this one, again, because it's not really available anymore to buy or to pick up for free. So Squirtle with the Pokemon Center stamp takes the 7th spot out of the top 10 from Scarlet and Violet. Continuing on with the promos, the number 6 seed is Pikachu with the gray felt hat. And I know we've talked about this card a few times on the channel, and it looks like it's just holding its price steady around the $95, $96 mark. So again, Pikachu with the gray felt hat. This was another card that you could have picked up from the Pokemon Center or if you went to the museum. But again, now it's one of those cards that you need to pick up from eBay or some sort of third-party market. And unfortunately, again, similar with the Squirtle, you're going to probably have to play an arm and a leg for it. Coming in number 5 is Carmen from Twilight Masquerade. Again, very similar to the Iono card, one of those waifu cards, similar idea with the food and all that. So another one of those waifu cards, currently valued at around $99. We'll probably see this card decline a little bit as well once we see more and more sets come out and once Twilight Masquerade's been out for a little bit, because again, as there are currently too many cards in the Twilight Masquerade series that have a very high value. Again, we don't touch on all of them today because some of them don't make the top 10, but there is a bunch of them that are above the $50 mark. So again, coming in number 5 is Carmen from Twilight Masquerade. Now, you can't have a top 10 without having at least one Charizard. Charizard EX from Paldean Fates takes the number 4 spot, valued currently at $112. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is one of the nicest Charizards I've seen over the past year. And I've been super lucky and have pulled this card twice, not joking, pulled it twice, and I'm considering taking it for PSA grading for both of them because they both look like PSA 10s. So again, really nice card, the most expensive card from Paldean Fates, and it's probably going to stay around that mark as well. That being said, this card was actually worth even more at one point. It was about a $180 card, so it has had a significant drop, about $70 as we sit around the 112 mark now. I think this is probably going to be its price point for now. We've seen more sets come out. Interest has shifted towards other sets, so we'll probably see this card stay around this price for now, and maybe we'll see some changes in around 6 months or so. We'll be looking at it again at that point. Focusing on the card itself, it's a really nice card. The colors are really nice, the reds, the blues, the blacks, the purples. It's just, honestly, it's like similar to the Greninja, which we're going to talk about later as well today, but again, it's a Charizard, and Charizard usually takes the top spot. This time takes the 4th spot. And Charizard does make the podium. Taking the number 3 spot is Charizard EX from Pokemon 151. Currently valued at $116. It is, again, the most expensive card from Pokemon 151. Unfortunately, the other cards from Pokemon 151 are nowhere near the price of this card, but in all honesty, they should be, like the Zapdos or the Venusaur. I think they're really nice looking cards, and I'm not being biased when I say Venusaur because in all honesty, I think some of those cards look better than what we have here with the Charizard. In fact, Charizard is so minuscule, it's like he's not even a part of the card. I mean, the Volcano looks more the Pokemon than the Charizard itself. It's so small. They should have made it a little bit bigger. Again, that's just my opinion. It's neither here or there. It takes the number 3 spot. Decent looking card, $116. We'll see what the value is going to be in a few months. If there's going to be a reprint, obviously we'll see this dip a little bit further. If there isn't, we'll probably see it climb a little bit more. And in the number 2 spot is the Magikarp from Paldean Fates. Yes, he is not number 1. Currently valued at $144. In my honest opinion, it's an okay card. I've spoken about it before. There isn't anything too special for me. If I'm going to drop that kind of money, I'd rather get the Shining Magikarp from the Neo series, as I mentioned in other videos. I think it's just an all right card. I don't think I would pay $144 for this card. What price is it going to be? To be honest, this card can probably climb a little bit further because again, it has had about a $40 increase over the last month or so, and it's still going up. So we'll probably see this one get close to around the 170 or 180 mark, probably even surpass the next card, which we're going to talk about, and we'll get into that in a moment. But right now, this card is currently rising. Paldea Evolved in general as a set is rising. Talk of reprints haven't come out yet. The value of this card could increase even further. And the number 1 spot goes to Greninja EX from Twilight Masquerade. And you know what? Twilight Masquerade is currently my favorite set, not counting Pokemon 151. So I'm happy that the number 1 card comes from the set that I like the most and the set that I feel is probably going to be worth the most in the future. So this one's going for $183. It's about $40 more expensive than the 2nd place card. Most of the other cards were pretty stacked together between $1 to $5 or $10, but this one actually blows the competition away. Will it continue? Maybe it will. It's a hard card to pull, honestly. I haven't pulled it. I mean, I can buy it for $180 or keep trying to pull from my Twilight Masquerade, but in all honesty, I'm not a huge Greninja fan, so I probably won't get this card if I don't pull it. But just talking about the card, again, similar to the Charizard with just the vibrant colors and him just hanging out in there. So again, it looks like that's what the trend is with these cards and these art cards. And because we have more sets to come from Scarlet and Violet, it's hard to say whether it will hold its value or not. But right now, it's number 1. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this market update on the top 10 Pokemon cards from Scarlet and Violet era. There are so many other cards from Scarlet and Violet, unfortunately, that did not make the top 10, and we'll probably make another video in a few months just to see what the Scarlet and Violet top 10 cards are in that moment. And let me know in the comments section below which cards you think are going to be out of the top 10 before I make my next video. And if you guys like my content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. See you all next time.